heavily that night, beating hard on the rusty roof of the small house at the edge of the village. Inside, Adaeze lay on an old wooden bed, sweating and shaking as sharp pain tore through her body. She bit her wrapper to stop herself from screaming too loud. There was no midwife, no doctor, no mother beside her, just fear, shame, and the sound of thunder outside. She was only 19, unmarried, and already carrying a child everyone had warned her about. When the baby finally came, her cry was loud, pure, and full of life. Adaeze stared at the tiny girl lying beside her, her small fingers moving, her chest rising gently. For a moment, just a moment, something soft touched Adaze's heart. The baby looked so innocent, so helpless. But then reality returned like a slap. The insults from the villagers, her father's angry face, her mother's tears, the shame, the disgrace. She could already hear their voices. She has ruined this family. No man will marry her again. She is a bad example. Adaeze covered her ears, shaking her head. No, I can't do this, she whispered, tears running down her face. The baby cried louder, as if begging her to stay. But fear is a powerful thing. And that night, fear won. Adaeze wrapped the baby in an old cloth and stepped out into the cold, wet night. The rain soaked her hair and clothes, but she didn't stop walking. Her heart was beating fast, her hands trembling as she held the child close. The baby had stopped crying now, only making soft sounds, trusting the only person she knew, her mother. After walking for what felt like forever, Adaeze reached a quiet street near a small church at the edge of town. She looked around. No one was there. Only the sound of rain and distant thunder filled the air. Her legs felt weak as she slowly bent down and placed the baby near the church gate. For a second, she didn't move. Her hands lingered. Her eyes filled with tears. "Forgive me," she whispered.
"Forgive me, my child."
The baby made a soft sound, almost like she understood. Adaeze turned away quickly and began to walk. One step, then another, then faster, until she was running from the child, running from her mistake, running from her own heart. Behind her, the baby began to cry again, louder this time. But Adaeze did not turn back. Not even once. The baby's cries echoed into the quiet night, mixing with the sound of the rain. Minutes passed, then more. Her tiny body shook from the cold, her voice growing weaker with every cry. It felt like the whole world had gone silent on her. No mother, no warmth, just darkness and the smell of wet earth. But fate had not forgotten her. An old woman named Mama Ifunanya was on her way back from a late-night church vigil when she heard the faint cry. At first, she thought it was a cat, but something about the sound made her stop. She turned slowly, holding her lantern higher, and followed the noise toward the church gate. And there she saw it. A small bundle, moving slightly. "Chineke," she gasped, rushing forward. She dropped her umbrella and picked up the baby gently, wrapping her tighter in the cloth. The child's crying softened immediately, as if she knew she was finally safe. Mama Ifunanya looked around, hoping someone would come running, hoping a mother would appear. But no one came. "Who could do this?" she whispered, her voice filled with pain. The baby looked up with half-closed eyes, her tiny hand. Mama Ifunanya took the child home that night. Her house was small and old, just like her, but it was filled with warmth and kindness. She lit a fire, warmed some water, and gently cleaned the baby's body. The child was quiet now, only staring around with wide, curious eyes.
You are a strong child,
one, Mama Ifunanya said softly. You fought through this cold. You didn't give up. She smiled gently and touched the baby's cheek. I will call you Chioma, because God's grace has found you. From that night, Amara became her child. Years passed slowly, like the ticking of an old clock. Amara grew into a bright, calm, and intelligent girl. Even though they had very little, she never complained. She helped Mama Ifunanya with chores, sold fruits by the roadside, and still found time to study. Her eyes always held a quiet strength, like someone who had been through something, even if she didn't remember it. Sometimes she would sit outside at night and watch other children play with their parents. There would be a small silence in her heart, a question she didn't know how to ask. Mama, where is my mother? She asked one evening. Mama Ifunanya paused. She had always known this day would come. She couldn't take care of you, she said gently. But God brought you to me. Amara nodded slowly, trying to understand. She didn't cry, but something inside her changed that day. A quiet promise formed in her heart. One day, she would become someone important, someone strong, someone no one could ever abandon again. Life was not easy for Amara, but she carried herself like someone who had already decided her future. Every morning before the sun came up, she would wake up, sweep the compound, fetch water, and help Mama Ifunanya prepare food to sell. After that, she would run to school, sometimes barefoot, sometimes with worn-out slippers that had been stitched too many times. But inside that young girl was something different, something strong. In school, Amara was always quiet, always watching, always learning. While other children played carelessly, she listened closely to her teachers. She asked questions. She stayed back after class. Sometimes she would even help clean the classroom just so she could spend more time reading old textbooks left behind by other students.
do you stress yourself like this? One of her classmates asked her one day. Amara smiled softly. Because I don't have another option. That simple answer carried a heavy truth. At night, when Mama Ifunanya had fallen asleep, Amara would sit by the small lantern and read. The light was dim and mosquitoes filled the air, but she didn't care. Her eyes were focused. Her heart was set. She didn't want pity. She wanted power. Years passed, and Amara's hard work began to show. She became the best student in her school. Teachers spoke about her with pride. Neighbors started noticing her. Even those who once ignored Mama Ifunanya now greeted her with respect. One afternoon, a group of visitors came to the school. People from the city, well-dressed and serious. They were offering scholarships to only the most outstanding students. The entire school buzzed with excitement. Chioma didn't expect anything. She had trained herself not to expect too much from life. But when her name was called, she froze. Amara Ifunanya, the principal said with a smile, you have been selected. For a moment, the world went silent. Me? She whispered. Yes, you. The woman replied warmly. Full scholarship. You will continue your education in Lagos. Tears filled Amara's eyes, but she didn't let them fall. She turned and looked at Mama Ifunanya, who stood at the back, already crying with joy. That day, everything changed. Lagos was a different world. Tall buildings, fast cars, people everywhere. At first, Amara felt small, lost, in a city that never seemed to rest. But she didn't let fear stop her. She remembered the cold night she survived, even without remembering it clearly. She remembered the hunger, the struggle, the silence in her heart. And she pushed forward. Years later, through hard work, discipline, and a mind that refused to give up, Amara rose higher than anyone expected. She entered the world of business, learned fast, worked smart, and built something powerful from nothing. People began to know her name, respect her, fear her, admire her. And one day, she became the CEO of a fast-growing company. Young, powerful, untouchable. But deep inside her heart, there was still a small space, a question, a past she didn't fully understand. And very soon, that past was coming back.